On the topic of stores, displays, and creating that customer experience, what advice would you give someone, a decorator, heat printer, who's got like a bit of a showroom space or maybe like a reception area for their workshop? How would you recommend they display that? Do you have any tips for that?
Depends on the space, but yeah, I would go with the best stuff at the front because you want it's a first impression you're making on someone in the same way of any kind of first impression. So you want them to be impressed, you want them to see some colour, you want to see some vibrancy, maybe something a little difficult.
Is there a limit on how much stuff you would have out in a display room? Because I've been in some before where there's a lot of stuff on the shelf and it's kind of a bit, I wouldn't even say overwhelming, but it all just kind of looks the same. And you're like, well, what's the difference?
Yeah, you don't want someone to have to struggle to get through the rail. It needs to be smooth and fast moving through it. It's good to have a little bit you need to make sure you cover everything. So if that customer asks you about a product, you have it to hand. You don't want to be like, okay, let me go and have a look in the back and see if I've got one.
Dusty in a box somewhere.
kills the momentum anyway. Depends what type of business you are and what type of customer you're going for as well. The main thing is just to try and, depending on if you know this person's coming in, then you should try and dress the area to their liking. What you want them to do when they come in is have a emotional reaction to what they see. They should need to be able to see themselves in the display.
Yeah.
So if it is workwear, then you should have workwear, but you should have the slightly nicer workwear with the better fit on it. You should have a cohesive message of the workwear. So if you're going to have a workwear set, it should be the same logo throughout or variations on the logo, but it's a story. It shouldn't be like one on this, one different on that one, another color over there, completely different business on that one. It's got to be cohesive. So it has a sort of wow factor to it then, or at least this person understands how to put a set together.
Yeah.
Because, we talk about how you can get more money by selling sets. So the more products you can sell together, the better. But the examples have got to be cohesive like that to be able to create that connection. So like, well, actually, that hoodie looks great with that bag, actually, or that. Oh yeah, we could throw some beanies in to go with that, or some caps.
Yeah.
So that way they have a reaction and they feel connected to you as a business when they come in.
Yeah, they feel like you understand what they're looking for before they've even had to ask in a way.
Yeah, and if it's a place where maybe you get some people coming and dropping by and you're not always sure they're coming, is then just have the crown jewels out the front. And just have a little bit of a selection, but just kind of make sure everything is cohesive and tied together. If you've got multiple colours, try and put the colours together. People love going in and seeing stuff that looks very organised. Let's say you've got 20 tops and you've got a mixture of, you got 4 red and 3 blue and 5 green and 2 yellow.
Make a rainbow.
Colour
from coordination.
Yeah, colour coordinated.
I never thought I'd hear the day that Andy was talking about colour coordinating.
But it's true. You should think about it like that. If it's like more of a wool, you need to think about how the colours match together there, because you might approach that differently. I don't know whether it's still true, because it's a long time ago since I worked in a retail shop, but the advice the merchandisers always used to give around there when they come around and read the shops was they try and do almost like a checkerboard.
Okay.
So if you've got a wall of 40 t-shirts, don't all necessarily go color coordinated. If it's like rainbow color coordinated, you can go through it.
Yeah.
But if we're talking like black then white, it's better to checkerboard it because it's visually more interesting and appealing and less like black, white.
It's also probably easier to see, isn't it? Because if you put 10 black t-shirts together and 10 white, your eyes kind of get lost in what you're looking at. Whereas if they're visually broken up by the bulk block colours, it's easier to differentiate and go, oh, I like that one.
Yeah. So, I would say if you've got a shop, then test a few versions out on family and friends, get them to come in and see how they react to different setups as well.
Yeah.
Because they'll probably give you some good feedback.
What was easy to see, what wasn't, what they missing.
What they liked, what they reacted to.
Yeah.
I would also say go into the nearest shopping centre to you and look around shops, especially ones that are perhaps similar products or similar customer, and just look around at how they've dressed their areas. What can you learn from that?
Yeah, put mannequins together, have a rail behind it, which is something we do for events here, you know, like Workwear Reimagined that we had not long ago. We had all of the mannequins dressed and layered in a way. So it was t-shirt, shirt, body warmer, jacket, like whatever that combo might be, with a rail next to it with the options of shirt, the options of t-shirt. And then that made not only the choices easy for somebody that was coming in because they could see the options for each garment, but they could also see it combined in the finished product. And I think those two things, when you're choosing, you want to see the finished product for yourself, your staff, whoever it is you're purchasing for, but then also having the blank options as well makes it visually easy to be like, oh, okay, I get the differences now.
Yeah, and and to add to that is like, don't give them too much choice. So
it's always a mistake.
That's why again, that's going back to that good, better, best. Is that like 3 is a good number?
Yeah,
because that's enough of a range. So
3 t-shirts, 3 shirts, 3 jackets.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
on each rail.
For each like genre of that you're offering them. But if you go like, hey, do you want to pick from one of those 10 t-shirts? These they won't make a decision. It's too much choice.
They also probably won't really be able to tell the difference between most of them either. Like I know you can because you're the decorator, you've picked them all. But if there's like a tiny difference in, I don't know, the fabric composition of 2 white t-shirts, they're not going to know. Like they don't need that choice because at the end of the day, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's, you know, you've got to offer them like an a la carte menu. Basically, I always think back to whenever like Gordon Ramsay would go to like do his kitchen nightmares and he'd go into a restaurant and he'd pull out the menu and it's like 10 pages long and he's like
where the hell do I start?
Like, what do you even offer here?
Yeah.
I don't understand. You know, you've got to think about how you like to be offered choice in your own life outside of work and apply those principles. But like 3 is a good number. Yeah. That's what I always say. If we're doing something for our own selves from a marketing point of view, like try and give me 3 options.
Yeah.
If you just gave me 1, I'm probably not going to be inclined to make a decision on it, or I'm not. If you got it perfect, then maybe I'll be like, yeah, that's great.
No,
but you got a better chance of like 2 or 3 because you're like, okay, you got to second guess what the person's going to ask, or like, what is that person think they want? But actually, even if it's a bad idea, I'll show it to them visually, and they'll be like, yeah, that wasn't actually a great idea.
Yeah.
It looked terrible when we made that adjustment to it, but that's